Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the starter Quaquaval here in the Open Ultra League. We already took a look at this Pokemon in the Great League before, but I kinda thought today, why didn't I try it out yet? Because it actually looks really good on paper on PvPoke. Like if you take a look at this one and just like put it into the team building tool or whatever, it looks really solid. But also, the cool thing about this Pokemon is you're going to have a very awkward moveset. You're going to have Wing Attack as well as Aerial Ace as a Water and Fighting type Pokemon. Also, by the way, take a look at this one here right now. Close Combat coming through. Boom, goodbye Pidgeot, allowing us to realign and do some damage even against the Clefable here right now in the first game already. But you have a Water and Fighting type Pokemon. What would you usually get out of there in the Ultra League? Usually you would get out the Virizion, and you're going to have double super effective damage with your Pokemon against Virizion. So I feel like this is a very cool Pokemon to trap Pokemon here right now. But here we're going to also see a perfect catch onto the Moonblast here for our Galarian Weezing, as we can even still reach another charge move against the opponent here right now, forcing the knockout actually. And now it's just a Clefable with 2 shields against a Poliwrath with 2 shields, and I'm not going to risk anything because I'm fairly certain right now after catching the Moonblast we should be fine just getting the full farm down here with counter with our Poliwrath, which is actually going to happen here as well. And for Poliwrath, I have to say something. I don't think that this moveset is ideal. I think that the better moveset would be something like Power Punch over Scald, because I feel like you get like to Scald so late. It's just not really worth it, but take a look at this one here right now. We're going to see the Heliolisk coming in. We're going to go for the close combat, and they did not expect it. Heliolisk would be a very difficult Pokemon to deal with. I guess our lead is kind of neutral against it, but of course, I mean, actually, this was the worst possible matchup where it could have the Heliolisk, but look at the damage already in the first 2 games that we did just with our Quaquaval. It's insane how much damage we did. As you're going to see, the final Pokemon from the opponent is going to be the Steelix, where they have no chance of winning this game anymore, and we can move on into the next game. Dragonite lead, amazing for us, but let's take a look what's coming in here. It's going to be the Tapu Fini. This is awkward for the backline, and in general, most likely the worst possible Pokemon to face with this team, maybe together with Charizard. Charizard is also a little bit tricky to deal with, even though we have 2 Water-type Pokemon, we are not really having the Water-type coverage on those Pokemon. Of course, we have now Scald on our Poliwrath, but until you get to the Scald, it's already like, yeah, very far advanced into the matchup. But here, we're going to let this move go through, and we have to hope that they're going to swap in now into their Dragonite here. So we're going to be able to do some damage with the Ice Punch, but let's see what's coming in. It's going to be the Virizion, and we can now finally take a look at the matchup against Virizion. As I'm going to shield up the Leaf Blade from the opponent, I will be able to go for an Aerial Ace against the opponent here as well, which is gonna connect and do a ton of damage against them. Like this, we're gonna get out the Dragonite, and they're still forced to throw against me, but I can still just spam those Aerial Aces, get the first shield here right now, and we're going to get the Team P-Tai on the second one here, which is going to be amazing, as you're now going to get a ton of damage onto them. But also, we can take this move here, and like this, we're gonna put the opponent into range where I can just farm them down with counter, as well as I can just take a charge move from the opponent. Even a superpower will not knock me out, and like this, we will just be able to go for the full farm down here with our Poliwrath against the Virizion and just win this game here. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have the Galarian Weezing against the Escavalier. I think that I misplayed this game quite a bit, but let's take a look at this one. Of course, we could have potentially the move Overheat here, so my opponent kind of has to respect it. So I decide to use a shield here as they go for an Aerial Ace, which does not make too much sense, as you're going to see later on. Spoiler alert, they're running Drill Run as well. So that's a little bit of an awkward one, but of course, they expect me to have the Overheat, and as I went for a bait first, they're going to use another shield here as well right now. They're going to try to catch a move, did not work out at all. As well as they would be able to just go for the charge move of Aerial Ace to do super effective damage against me. They're going to swap out, and again, we're going to destroy another, electric type Pokemon here with our Quaquaval. Like, this Pokemon already in the first 4 games has been carrying the entire team so far, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I had a great time playing this team. Honestly, it was so much fun to play this, as we're going to now see that the Escavalier is getting to another Aerial Ace, and I was not really counting the energy, and they're actually going to get to another one, and this is going to be a very big issue right now, especially as you're going to see right now that the opponent going to perfectly catch the Brutal Swing from us, which is going to make this all basically impossible. The only way of us winning this game is if our Poliwrath is going to be enough in order to get the opponent basically into farm down range here right now, which it barely isn't. And yeah, I should have went for my Brutal Swing a little bit earlier to get the guaranteed knockout against the opponent's Escavalier, but I didn't, and this was my own mistake and definitely not ideal at all. But at least we can now move on, and we can now see the next game coming up. What we're going to have here Galarian Wheels against Dragonite again. So again, very decent lead, and you're gonna see now the Kofak Regas coming in. With us having basically 2 fighting type Pokemon in the back, it's not looking too great here right now, but at least we're going to be able to just go ahead and go for more Brutal Swings. Brutal Swing going to do some decent damage against the opponent here, and we can use a shield against the Shadow Balls. I cannot just want to realign, because of course our Fairy type going to be very fine against the opponent's Dragonite. So like this, I will be able to have the shield disadvantage, but I can realign my Pokemon. As they most likely go back into the Dragonite here right now against my Quaquaval, I get the farm down, but I can also get the close combat off, which definitely does more damage than the aerial ace here, because A, stab, and B, way harder hitting charge move. I will be able to now swap into my Weezing again, as they're going to swap into their Registeel, and I can go for a Brutal Swing, but this is not ideal. And here, for example, is again one of the scenarios where I wish I just had Power Punch on my Poliwrath, because what does Scald really do for me? My only play here is to hope that I get the attack drop with Scald, and you know me already. Luckily here for us, for example, by the way, that we were actually able to not get the debuff from the opponent as well. Very lucky for us. But we also don't debuff the opponent either, so right now I just have to hope that I can still get to another charge move here. Right now I'm actually going to be able to survive, get this Scald off. We got the attack drop now on the second one, which is fine, as we're gonna get them very low enough that I can farm them down with Weezing before they can even get to another charge move, and like this we can win this game. Next opponent, Golisopod. This was such a, like, you wanna see it. Honestly, it is just always the same for me when I play against something with Night Slash. You're going to see it anyway right now. We can go for a Poliwrath, actually get the shield, which I was kind of confused about, because we don't have anything that really threatens them, other than maybe like Overheat, but not really. And of course, they're gonna go for the Night Slash bait, and they're gonna get the attack drop, or like the attack buff immediately here, which is going to change the entire matchup, which you're going to see here now as well, because they can just spam Night Slash, and their wing attacks doing so much damage. It's going to be such a pain now to deal with it, as we also now going to see the Registeel coming in here. We're gonna go ahead and swap out, of course, into the Poliwrath. Oh no, actually not into the Poliwrath, into the Quaquaval, because I want to get a charge move off here, and hopefully that's gonna put them into a farmland range for my Poliwrath, which works out fairly well here, at least, as they're going to get, of course, a knockout without a doubt here with their Registeel. I will be able to just go ahead and swap out into my Poliwrath, get the full farm down against the opponent, and like this, we're going to see them going for their own Poliwrath here right now, and we will be able to go for Scald, but it's still going to be a tough game to come back from, as we will see right now. We're gonna get the attack buff drop here, which is going to be really nice for us, because like this we can survive those Scalds a little bit easier. They don't run Dynamic Punch either, which is really cool, and we will be able to just go up and go for another Ice Punch, but they sadly barely survive. And like this game is going to be over, or is it? As I can still go for a charge move here right now. I might still be fine. Let's take a look at this one. We can go ahead and go for the Poliwrath. Does this knock out the opponent? They are Shadow. We are going to do a stab damage here, and we are barely not there, and they can go for the Night Slash here. And this Night Slash would have not knocked me out here, or like not even got me into farm down range if they didn't get the buff before. So one buff immediately from the Night Slash basically saved the game for the opponent here, which of course is always kind of annoying. But we can move on to the next one. We're going to have the Skunk Tank here against us here right now, where we can go ahead and go for the shield. Maybe it's a Trailblaze, but they're actually baiting me with a Crunch. Interesting enough, they're of course gonna get the defense drop here immediately, but it does not really matter, as we will be able to go for the Aerial Aces against the Jellicent of the opponent. But yeah, this matchup in general is not really ideal, but this is kind of why Quaquaval is our say-swap. We don't want to have this matchup at all with my Poliwrath. Here we can at least still do neutral damage, while it's not stab damage, and like the opponent is going to easily take those moves, we're still going to do some damage, which is very nice, because now they're in range for a Brutal Swing, as I'm going to let this next move go through. I don't want to invest another shield here right now, and we will be able to overfarm by quite a bit, getting me to 2 Brutal Swings here, as I can get the first one off, knock out the opponent, and we will see the opponent's Skunk Tank coming back in. We're kinda a little bit behind here in the game, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Brutal Swing first. So I'm gonna get the shield, and now I hope that this is a crunch. This is my only play, really. Hopefully it is a crunch. It is a crunch, and now we can still survive it. Go for a Poliwrath, get a ton of damage onto them, and swap now into my Poliwrath. Hopefully there's something weak against me in the back. We get 3 extra fast moves in, and we're going to see the Charizard in the back. And I have to go for the bait here right now. I'm not sure if the 3 extra fast moves were enough for me to outspeed them now with the bait here. If they go for the Dragon Claw, which they're definitely gonna do, I'm not sure about it. And it is not, because they're going to be able to CMP tie against me, and like this, I am still going to survive this. I can still go for a Scald here, definitely gonna get the knockout against the opponent, and also, still going to get the knockout here, and we still had a 1 HP Pokemon there in the back, so we were able to actually still win this game, which was kinda wild. Horrible lead for us. The Swampert is coming in here, and we're gonna see the Mandibuzz coming in. So, Mandibuzz has access to Aerial Ace and generates energy a little bit faster than us, so I was hoping that they're gonna go for the charge move before I can go for my Close Combat, which of course does the most amount of damage here. And this Close Combat is coming through here right now, going to do nearly half of the opponent's health. Like this, I can go for another one, and I think I might be able to just go for a full farm down, and I'm gonna go for exactly that here, as I will be able to completely destroy the opponent's Mandibuzz. In comes most likely the Swampert again, where I can go for another close combat here right now, and we're in a great spot actually. We're gonna get a ton of damage into them. That's not all. We can also get our shield back here with our Quaquaval being able to go for another Aerial Ace. You see how insanely spammy this Pokemon is. It is absolutely madness. So, like this, I'm going to use a shield here onto the Earthquake, and we will see the opponent's final Pokemon going to be the Talonflame. And all the work that we just did kinda vanishes with this one here right now. As, yeah, this is kinda awkward. Talonflame is definitely a Pokemon I kinda want to try to make a video about as well eventually. This is maybe actually one of the Pokemon where I try to make a really good team around, basically like the video that I did for Tropius, because I feel like this is one of the most interesting Pokemon in the current meta. So yeah, we will see. Maybe you're going to see some content for Talonflame soon on my channel, but yeah, I don't want to get Brave Birded, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm going to decide to forfeit early on my own terms. So, next opponent, we're going to see a Jellicent in the lead. This is totally fine for us, because like this, we will be able to go for a Brutal Swing, do some super duper effective damage, for sure, the best super duper effective damage against the opponent here, which will do some decent chip damage in general. And what we're gonna do here actually is we're gonna go ahead and catch a move onto our Quaquaval. We're having an ABB line. We kind of want to keep our lead a little bit healthy, and like this, we're actually even able to catch the correct move here with the Surf. So, we can still go for close combat, get the opponent into range where I can just knock them out with one charge move off my Weezing, but also, I can even still get to another charge move here right now, which is forcing a shield. Quaquaval, even though it gets hardwalled here most of the times, we were able to still get shields left, right, and center. As we're going to now see the Feather Dance coming through, I know that this is now a Feather Dance as well, because Feather Dance is 50 energy where they went straight for back-to-back. It could have been an Aerial Ace to be fair, but nobody's running that. So yeah, we're gonna now see the opponent's what's called Jellicent coming back in here. We're going to get the knockout against them, and they're only going to have the Cobalion in the back. And what do they really want to do here? Honestly, I can just go for the Poliwrath, going to get most likely a ton of damage onto them, and this is now counter downrange for sure, as they're forced to go for Stone Edge. Otherwise, they will not knock me out, and they're gonna go for that. But I can just go ahead and go for the full farm down here. Not even going to throw a charge move. Not at all, not worth it for me, as I can just go for the full knockout, as we can now move on into the second to last game for today. Fairly badly, to be fair, but they're going to swap out into green, and I was very slow on the swap there. My own mistake. I actually didn't really pay too much attention in the lead there, for example. But like, yeah, we're going to be able to just still counter them down here, of course, with our Poliwrath, taking 2 charge moves from the opponent in the same return there. But we will be able to just go for the Scald, knock out this Squirrel, and we should be fine here right now with this one. As we will see the opponent swapping back most likely into their Tapu Fini here, which is fine. We don't know the final Pokemon yet, but at least I'm going to put the opponent now into range for 1 Poliwrath, which is going to be amazing as well. So they are definitely now in range for just 1, and they're even going to be forced to throw another charge move, which is amazing for us. So we got rid of some energy, we were able to realign, we got them onto basically the range for just 1 Poliwrath, or is it? It is not. They actually still survive with exactly 1 HP, which is really annoying, because like this, they're going to get another Surf off, and let's see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Golisopod. And if they don't run Aerial Ace, we go completely walling the opponent's charge moves, and they're running Liquidation and Exercise, it seems like. So we can take one, but they are going to have to take my Aerial Aces here right now. First one going to get shielded, next one going to go through here as well. And I actually thought of letting this next move go through right now, because it's going to be a CMP tie. But then I decided to just go ahead and play it safe, double shield my Quaquaval, and they still might want to swap out onto my charge move though into their Tapu Fini with 1 HP in the back, so I'm not going to throw immediately. As you can see here, just now I'm going to go for the BM move and go for the close combat, because who needs super effective moves if we can knock them out with resistant moves as well. And we can now move on into the final game of today's video. You're going to have a Trevenant in the lead. Fairly okayish lead for us. We can still go for just Brutal Swing here and do a ton of damage against the opponent, as this is going to go through. We're going to do a decent chunk actually. especially, as we can now take a charge move from them. This is gonna be the Shadow Ball. I'm going to shield this move up, and we're gonna see the Ampharos coming in. Horrible for us, of course, as Ampharos is going to be a core breaker for our backline especially. We are not going to have the greatest time here, and at this point of time, I kinda realized something. I most likely know the team from my opponent. It's most likely going to be in the back as well, the Magnezone, and there's not a lot that I can do about this. I'm going to now let this move go through. I still survive with 1 HP and I can swap out here, but fairly certain that there's going to be the Magnezone lurking in the back, and sadly my opponent decides to go into this one yet, because I wish they would have went into their, other Pokemon, basically, into their Trevenant. But like this, I'm going to be forced to go for the close combat here, going to get the shield from the opponent. And now they shield this, but they have a ton of energy, and Magnezone, of course, is in a great matchup here right now, and there's not a lot that I can do about it. The opponent had a double electric line against my double water line. Basically, both of my Pokemon in the back had nowhere to go in this matchup right now, because there was a grass type and 2 electric type, so kind of unfortunate team comp here. Sadly going to lose this one, but I can at least still knock out the Magnezone. And this is going to be it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.